Bismillahirrahmanirrahim and Assalamu alaikum. I welcome you all again in my class of mathematics. I hope you all are doing well at your home, keeping all the necessary precautionary measures to avoid coronavirus or COVID-19. So, students, previously we were discussing our chapter number 3, classification of living organisms. And this is a chapter from your biology book. And basically, this is your lecture number 4, and I am your teacher, Miss Falak Nas. Students, before starting a lecture, I have to discuss two most important things with you all. So I hope you will listen and understand what I am trying to say to you. Okay. So please listen to me very carefully. I want to discuss two most important points regarding your Google Classroom or regarding your names. Okay. Yesterday we have posted an online form to register yourself in the web portal of your schools. Okay. I hope all of you know about that admission form, that form, registration form. So number one, what you have to do, you have to fill that particular form. Okay, you have to fill that particular form, and the last date for the submission of the form is 8 July, that is Wednesday. Okay. Now you have to fill that form only one time. Okay. Either you will fill it on Google Classroom or either on WhatsApp group. Okay. But you have to fill that form for only one time and it is must. Okay. You have to fill that online form. Okay. This is very important. And the second most important thing is about your Google Classroom IDs. Okay. The IDs that you are using on Google Classroom. This is very important. I have already mentioned the names of all the irrelevant IDs that is on Google Classroom. Now listen to me. What you have to do, I will post 3 warnings from today. Okay. Today I will post warning number 1 for all the irrelevant IDs that are on Google Classroom. Okay. For that, what you have to do, you have to rename your ID. If your name was there, is there. So what you have to do, you have to rename your ID, or if it is your father's ID, your sister's or brother's ID, so please delete it from there. Okay, delete that ID from there. Otherwise, it will keep appearing on the list because we don't know who is using their father's ID or who is using their sister's or brother's ID. What you have to do, you have to simply use your name that is mentioned on the ID card. Just suppose I have seen here Bisma. Here you have Bisma and Wise Ahmed, Talha Javed, Sheikh Muhammad Bilad, Abdullah Mehboob. So what you have to do, you have to mention the proper name. Okay, what you have to mention your proper name that is on your students list or on your ID card. Like we have Zaid Ahmed. Okay, but in our list we have Sheikh Muhammad Zaid. So there is a big difference in Zaid Ahmed and Sheikh Muhammad Zaid. So what you have to do, you have to completely use your name that is on your IDs. Okay, so please don't write Muhammad Zaid or Zaid Khan. We don't know who is Zaid Khan. We know only Sheikh Muhammad Zaid. So the name which is written on your IDs, you have to use that name and please rename it. Or if you have any irrelevant ID, so what you have to do, you have to delete that ID from there. Okay. Today I will post warning number 1 for all those irrelevant IDs. Tomorrow warning number 2 and day after tomorrow warning number 3. And after warning number 3, I will block all those irrelevant IDs. Okay. Only the IDs with proper name, with proper IDs, they proper username, they can enter the class. Otherwise, all the irrelevant IDs like GG Gaming or Cooking with Kittens or Techno and whatever, please, I will not bother those IDs anymore. Okay. And please join the Google Classroom as soon as possible with your proper name and roll number. I hope it is clear to all. Please tell me if you have any confusion. If you have any confusion, please tell me. Bisma, I'm just asking you. You said that your father's ID was there in Google Classroom. So if you can delete that ID, so please. Abdullah Mehboob. Abdullah Mehboob. I could not find your name in my list. So please, Abdullah Mehboob, please tell me from which class section do you belong? Abdullah Mehboob, please tell me class and section. Abdullah Mehboob, please tell me your class, section, and roll number. Okay, class 8B, roll number, and your complete name. Okay, now I'm going to start your lecture. Okay, now I'm going to start your lecture. Now, let's recall the previous topic content, what we have learned so far. We were discussing the definition of taxonomy, the aims of classification, or the basis of classification, units of classification, and the last one is the binomial nomenclature. So far we have discussed all these topics in our previous lecture. If anyone did not attend that lecture, so what he or she has to do, just go to the YouTube channel or go to the link that I have provided on your Google Classroom and just watch that lecture again. Okay, it is now very easy for all of you if you missed any lecture. Okay, so what are today's lecture content and what we are going to study today? Today we are going to study the common scientific names and classification. Okay, today we are going to study the common scientific names and classification and the major groups of living organisms. What are the living groups of living organisms in which you have classified them? Okay, so before starting, let's recall this thing. Hierarchy of biological classification. Here you have the term hierarchy of biological classification. What is hierarchy? Hierarchy describes a system. Okay, it is a system that organizes or ranks things. Here what you have to do, you will organize something or give the ranks, or you can say a hierarchy is the formalized or simply implied understanding of who is on top or what is most important. Okay, if you want to check out the hierarchy of biological classification, so here it is. You will remember that we have discussed this thing in our previous class. So what is this? Species. We will start always from species, that is the basic unit of classification. And then we have to place that species into genus, family, order, class, phylum, or you can say division. And the last one is kingdom. So what you have to do here, if you have a particular species, so you have to place that single organism or single species into all these groups. Okay, you have to decide from which species that, from which genus, family, order, class, division, or kingdom that particular species belongs. Okay, understand? So this is the classification. These are the systems. Okay, now the next is common scientific name and classification. We will quickly go through the common scientific name and classification of some most important plants or animals so that you can understand this classification very clearly. So here we will start from the common name, that is mustard. What is mustard? Mustard is a plant, and in Urdu we can say sarson ka pauda. In Urdu it is sarson ka pauda. So mustard, here is a picture of your mustard plant. So if you look very carefully, the classification of mustard. So from which kingdom the mustard belong? Kingdom is plantae. Kingdom is plantae. Why plantae? Because it is a plant. Or why it is a plant? Because it has a chlorophyll in it and it has a cell wall as well. That's why it belongs to kingdom plantae. If the mustard plant do not contain chlorophyll or do not have cell wall, then it will place in another kingdom, that is animalia. But mustard has chlorophyll and cell wall. That's why it's placed in kingdom plantae. Next, the division, or you can say phylum. Okay, the division of mustard plant is Trachyophyta. Trachyophyta. So in Trachyophyta division, we placed all those plants that have vascular tissues, means all the plants that have xylem and phloem, they will place in the phylum that with the name Trachyophyta. So in Trachyophyta, all the plants with vascular tissues will be placed. So mustard is placed in the division Trachyophyta. Next, a class of mustard plant is Dicotyledone. Dicotyledone, di means two. Okay, di means two, cotyledon means two parts. Okay, now here I will give you the example of pea. Pea, mutton. If you look very carefully, pea can be divided into two parts, right? The seed of pea that you eat, it can be divided into two parts. It has two portions. So it means that is dicotyledon. It has two parts. Okay. So mustard seed is also dicotyledon. That's why it is placed in the class dicotyledone. Then the order is Scaparous, means it is a flowering plant. Then family of the mustard plant is Brassicaceae. Okay, what is it? Brassicaceae. Then the genus is Brassica, the species is Campestris, and the scientific name, and you know, scientific name is comprises of two words. Number one is genus, and the second one is species. Okay, so the scientific name of mustard plant, that the mustard is the common name, and the scientific name of mustard plant will be Brassica campestris. Okay, Brassica campestris. So this is the classification of the mustard plant. Okay, what you have to do here, you just learn the division, their class, order, family, genus, and species. You are not I'm not asking you to learn the characters of Trachyophyta, Dicotyledone as well, but what you have to do, you just learn the name of their division, class, order, family, genus, species. Okay, that's it. Next is the scientific name and classification of common name is man. Means here I am going to show you the classification of man, and we have already discussed in our previous class as well. So what was that? If you remember, what was that? We belong, like man, we belong to the kingdom Animalia. Why we belong to kingdom Animalia? Because we do not have chlorophyll and we do not have cell wall. Okay. Then our division is chordata, and the class of R is Mammalia, means we all are mammals. Then the order from which we belong is primate. Primates means all the monkeys, lemurs, or monkey lemurs, or you can say human beings, or all the ape men, gorilla. So all these are considered as primate. Our family is Hominidae. Okay, Hominidae, and genus is Homo, and the species is sapiens. So what is will be our scientific name depending on our genus and species? So what will be our scientific name? We are Homo sapiens. Okay, our scientific name is Homo sapiens. We belong to kingdom Animalia. Our division, or you can say phylum. Our phylum is Chordata. Class is Mammalia. Order is Primate. Family Hominidae. Genus Homo. Species Sapiens. And our scientific name is Homo sapiens. The last is the scientific name and classification of frog. Very important. Okay, frog. What is the classification of frog here? Again, it belongs to the kingdom with the name Animalia. Why Animalia? Because frog also do not have a cell wall or chlorophyll. Next, again, the division is Chordata. Class is Amphibia. Okay, now what are amphibians? What type of animals we will consider amphibia, that will live on land as well as on water. Okay, so the order is Salientia. Salientia is the order of the frog. The family is Ranidae. The genus is Rana. Species is Tigrina, and the scientific name based on their genus and species is Rana tigrina. Okay, the one or the most important thing that I want to discuss you here. about scientific name, you will always write your scientific name in italic form. Okay, if you are not writing it in italic form, what you will do, you will underline it. Okay, and it is must your first word letter is capital and second word letter should be small. So this is the way to write the scientific name. So if you are going to solve it in doing it in your copy, so you will must keep it in your mind that you will use italic form, or otherwise you have to underline that scientific name. Okay, next is the major groups of living organism. Okay, major groups of living organism. Okay, I want to see what you are saying. Okay, if you are writing it in black pen, but you must write it in italic form or underline it. It is must. Italic form or underline. Whether you are using black pen, blue pen, red pen, but it must be in italic form or you have to underline it. Okay. Next is the major groups of living organism. Now, listen to me very carefully. Previously or on early ages, the living things were classified into two kingdoms. Okay, what are kingdoms? Kingdoms are the broadest category of classification. Okay, broadest category, सबसे बड़ी category है. And the smallest one or the basic one is the species. So previously, living things were classified into two kingdoms, namely plant kingdom and animal kingdom. Okay, previously we have only two kingdoms, plant kingdom and animal kingdom. Now, the basis of this division was the presence or absence of cell wall and chlorophyll. So now students, all the living organisms with cell wall, you know what is a cell wall? Cell wall is made up of cellulose, and it provides support to the plants. Okay, it gives support to plant cell. So all the living organisms with cell wall, and the second one is chlorophyll. What is the chlorophyll? It is a green color pigment found in all the plants, and it help plant to make their food through the process of photosynthesis. So all the living organisms with cell wall and chlorophyll, they are considered as the plant, and all the living organism without cell wall and without chlorophyll, they are considered as animals. So previously living things is broadly divided into two categories. One is plant or either it is animal. But a large number of living organisms did not fit clearly into the category of plants and animals. Means you have a lot of living organisms that cannot properly fit into plant kingdom or in animal kingdom. So basically, to solve this problem, okay, in order to solve this problem, Robert Whitaker, he suggested a new system of classifying living organisms. Okay, Robert Whitaker, new system of classification. According to this new system, there are five kingdoms of living organisms. Okay, now I'm repeating again. Previously, living things classified into two categories, animal or plant. Okay, whether the given living organism is plant or otherwise it is an animal. But a large number of organisms did not fit into the specific category. So after that, Robert Whitaker proposed a new system of classification, and according to him, there are five kingdoms. Okay, now we will quickly go through the kingdoms that was explained or that was established by the Whitaker. Okay, the first one is Kingdom Monera. Okay, Kingdom Monera. Now we will quickly go through that what type of living organism will place in that specific kingdom. Again, I am repeating again, kingdom is the broadest category of classification, and the basic unit of classification is species. Okay, so we are starting from kingdom because it is very important. So in Kingdom Monera, what type of living organisms will be found? Number one, all the living organisms with most ancient forms of life, means most primitive form of life or the early form of life that was found on earth, they all placed in the Kingdom Monera. Why they are most ancient forms of life? Question arises here. Why they are considered as the most ancient form of life? Because all of them are one celled. One celled means unicellular. They are comprises of only one cell organism, unicellular organism, without, the most important thing is, without a nucleus. So what is a nucleus? Nucleus is found inside the cell, and it is the control center of the cell. Okay, so if a living organism is a unicellular living organism, if any unicellular organism that is present without a nucleus, they are called as prokaryotic or prokaryotes. Okay, any living organism that do not contain a proper nucleus, they are called prokaryotes. Here you have a picture of the Monera species. Look at here. Here you have a DNA that is present inside the cell, but you will not see any proper nucleus here. So all the living organism that belongs to kingdom Monera, they do not have a proper nucleus. Okay, the second thing is that they can be fed by variety of different methods. Their mode of nutrition are different, means some of the living organisms that belong to kingdom Monera, they can prepare their food by themselves just like plants, and some cannot make their foods just like animals. So some act like plants, some act like animals, but they are not plants and animals because they are prokaryotes, means without a nucleus. They have DNA, but DNA is found inside the cytoplasm. Okay, and here you have all the unicellular organisms in kingdom Monera, no multicellular organism. The next kingdom of Robert Whitaker is Kingdom Protista. Okay, Kingdom Protista. So in Kingdom Protista, what type of living organisms is? Number one is unicellular organisms with a nucleus. Okay, here again you will place all the unicellular organisms, but they have a nucleus. Okay, now all the living organisms that have nucleus, they are considered as eukaryotes. Okay, they are eukaryotes. Okay, so living organisms without the nucleus, they are placed into the kingdom Monera, and the living organisms with nucleus, they are in kingdom Protista. And again, they can be fed by a variety of methods, mean their mode of nutrition is different. Like they can make their food by themselves, of some of them cannot make their food, just like plants and animals, but they are unicellular and they are eukaryotes. Okay, next is kingdom fungi. Okay, you can read as kingdom fungi, but it is kingdom fungi. In American language it is fungi, or in British language it is fungi. So in kingdom fungi, what type of living organisms found? Number one, multicellular. Okay, previously the two kingdoms belongs to the living organisms that are unicellular. In kingdom fungi, all the living organisms are multicellular, and again with a nucleus, means all of them are multicellular as well as all of them are eukaryotes. But the most important thing is that they cannot make their own food. Okay, ये अपना फूड खुद से नहीं बना सकते, just like plants. Okay, they feed heterotrophically by absorption. Now look at here, they feed heterotrophically. Heterotrophic means what? Fungi are not able to ingest their food like animals. Okay, heterotrophic means it is a type of nutrition. Okay, heterotroph means what? It is a type of nutrition in which organisms depend upon other organisms for food to survive, just like animals. We depend on other organisms for our food, so we are heterotrophic. As well as fungi are also heterotrophs because they depend on other organisms for their food, but they feed by absorption. Absorption means they will absorb the food particles in it. What is the difference between us and fungi? We ingest our food. First, what we will do, we take our food and then we will digest it and then absorb it. If you remember what we did, we ingest our food, we take our food into our mouth, then we will digest it, we will break it down, and then we will convert it in, then we will absorb it from our intestine. But fungi, what fungi did, they absorb the food materials. Okay, there is no process of ingestion or digestion. So all the fungi, they feed heterotrophically, means they cannot make their food, they depend on other living organisms. And the last and the fourth one is the kingdom plantae. And kingdom plantae, all the living organisms, complex multicellular organisms, and they are eukaryotes, and they can make their own food through the process of photosynthesis. Okay, in kingdom plantae, all the living organisms has been placed that can make their own food through the process of photosynthesis, as well as they have cell wall. And again, they all are multicellular. No unicellular organism is placed in kingdom plantae, in kingdom fungi. Okay, unicellular organisms have been kept in kingdom Morera and kingdom Protista. So in kingdom plantae, again, all the living organisms, they can make their own food through the process of photosynthesis. And the last kingdom is kingdom Animalia, from which we belongs. Okay, so in kingdom Animalia, all the living organisms that are multicellular, means they are complex organisms, and again they are eukaryotes. Eukaryotes means they have nucleus inside their cell. And again, we cannot make they cannot make their own food, and they again feed heterotrophically. Heterotrophically means they depend on other living organism. Okay, animals are heterotroph because they depend on other living organism, and the plants are autotroph. Autotroph means they can make their food by themselves. Okay, now we feed heterotrophically by ingestion. Why ingestion? Because first of all, we will take our food in our mouth, then we will digest it, and then our blood stream absorb that digested food through the wall of intestine. That's why we feed heterotrophically by ingestion. So these are the five kingdoms that was proposed by Robert Whittaker. Now, the next is the drawbacks of Whittaker's scheme. Okay, what was the drawback? Why that system not failed? This system, although received widespread approval. Okay, this scheme received a widespread approval because he has placed all the living organisms in different categories. Okay, but it has one major drawback. What was one major drawback? It is regarding kingdom Protesta. Okay, Kingdom Protista. Now I'm repeating again, in Kingdom Protista, what type of living organisms was found? In Kingdom Protista, he placed all the unicellular, okay, unicellular as well as eukaryotes. Eukaryotes mean they have only one, eukaryotes mean they have a nucleus. So it includes all unicellular organisms that formerly had been regarded as animals. Okay, what he did, he included all the unicellular organisms that formerly had been regarded as animals and those that had been regarded as plants. Okay, what he did, he will place all the living organisms that are considered as animals and plants as well, but he placed them in kingdom Protista. Now what was the major problem is about the unicellular algae. Okay, algae are the living organism. Okay, what he did, algae are of two types. Some algae are unicellular, some are multicellular. So what he did, he placed all the unicellular algae in kingdom Protista, and all the multicellular algae, okay, all the he placed all the multicellular algae in kingdom Plantae. So what is wrong here? That the what is the thumb rule is that similar organisms must be put together. Means if you have algae, so whether it is a unicellular or whether it is a multicellular, so you have to place it only in one kingdom. Either you will place algae in Protista or either you will place algae in kingdom Plantae. But what he did, he placed unicellular algae in Protista and multicellular algae in Plantae. So this is against the rule. So after that, there are two another scientists with the name Margulis and Shivers. Okay, Margulis and Shivers, what he did, he modified only, okay, he modified the Whittaker's scheme. Okay, what they did, they just modified the Whittaker's scheme and proposed the five kingdoms of organism. They classified the world's ecologic distribution into five separate entities. Okay, he just modified the Whittaker system. Although Whittaker system was highly appreciated throughout the world, but due to one major drawback, Margulis and Shivers modified it. Okay. So number one is kingdom prokaryota. So according to them, the first kingdom is kingdom prokaryota. And what they did, they simply placed all the prokaryotes. Okay. All prokaryotes means all the living organism without nucleus. Any type of living organism, if they do not have a proper nucleus, they will place into the kingdom prokaryotic. Okay, prokaryotic means they do not have a nucleus simply. And examples are bacteria and cyanobacteria. Next kingdom is, according to Margulis, is kingdom protoctista. Okay, kingdom protoctista. In kingdom protoctista, it includes all the eukaryotic. Again, eukaryotic means they have a nucleus. Okay, they are. It includes all the eukaryotic organisms which are no longer classified as animals, plants, or fungi. Okay, most of the living organisms, of some type of living organism, they do not act like plants, they do not act like animals or nor fungi. Or some living organisms have the characters of animals and plants both. So it is very confusing to in which kingdom you will place that particular and particular species. So what Margulis and Shivers did, they placed all the living organisms which are no longer classified as animals, plants, or fungi. Examples are Euglena, Paramecium, Chlamydomonas, and yeast. Okay, means that no longer classified. You cannot find out whether the Euglena is animal, whether it is a plant or fungi, because they have both the characters of plants and animals. So they make a separate group for them, and that group is called Kingdom Protoctista. Third one is kingdom fungi. Okay, the third one is kingdom fungi. In kingdom fungi, they placed all the living organisms that are non-chlorophyllous. Okay, they do not have chlorophyll, means they cannot make their own food, but they are multicellular. They are eukaryotic, means they have complete nucleus, but they have cell wall. This is the cell wall is the character of plants. Okay, cell wall is the character of plant and non-chlorophyllous is the character of animal. So instead of placing them in plant or in animal kingdom, they make another group for them, that is kingdom fungi. Okay, the example is mushroom, and the scientific name of mushroom is agaricus. Okay, the last one, the fourth one is kingdom plantae, and again that is very understand and very clear. In kingdom plantae, they placed all the living organisms that have chlorophyll. Okay, they have chlorophyll, means they can make their own food. They are multicellular, they are eukaryotes with complete nucleus, and they have cell wall. Okay, so the examples of kingdom plantae are apple and sunflower. The last one is kingdom animalia. Okay, the kingdom animalia. So in kingdom animalia, they placed all the living organisms that are non-chlorophyllous, means they cannot make their own food. They are multicellular eukaryotic organisms, means they are multicellular, they have nucleus, but they do not have cell wall. And the examples are hydra, earthworm, and men. So according to new classification of Margulis and Shivers, there are 5 kingdoms. Number 1 is prokaryote, number 2 is protoctista, number 3 is fungi, fourth one is plantae, and the last one is animalia. So students, that's the end of today's chapter, that is chapter number 3, classification of living organism. I am going to post the lecture, the assignment today on Google Classroom. If you want to ask any question, please write it down in the chat box. Till then, I'm going to take the screenshot or snapshot of your participants list. So please do not go anywhere. If you want to ask anything, please write it down in the chat box. So what we have learned today, we have learned about the major kingdoms of living organism. Previously, there were only two kingdoms, but today we have five different kingdoms. Okay, and that is the modification of Whitaker's scheme. Abdullah Mehboob, I will check the list and I will tell you. Okay, Abdullah Mehboob, I will tell you. Dicotyledony means di means two parts means their seed have two parts just like pea. Okay, pea dicotyledony. Di means two cotyledon. Abdullah Mehboob. Okay. Okay, class. If you want to ask any question, you can ask me. This is the end of your chapter number 3, classification of living organism. Now, what you have to do, you have to copy down the assignment that I will post on Google Classroom. And in the next lecture, we will start physics. Okay. In the next lecture, we will start physics. Okay, students, if you want to ask any question, please let me know. No assignment is long. Roha have always same query, long or short. Very short. You have only 2 questions to attempt and fill in the blanks as well. Yes, I will, Simil. I will give you homework today. Explain the last topic. Which one? Kingdom Animalia, Zuhaib? Major groups. Okay, I am going to repeat the slide again. Allah Hafiz. And Kingdom Animalia short term. Kingdom Animalia means, in Kingdom Animalia, 1 minute. All the living organism that do not have, okay, all the living organism So in Kingdom Animalia, you will have all the living organisms that are non-chlorophyllous, means they do not have chlorophyll, they cannot